Have you ever noticed that every time life starts getting better, you somehow find a way to ruin it? You procrastinate, you overthink, you delay, you pick unnecessary fights, you quit just before success. It looks like bad luck. But what if none of this is actually self-destruction? Your brain may actually be protecting you from becoming the person you say you want to be. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to realize that the biggest obstacle in your life has never been laziness. It's been protection. Imagine you're up for a promotion, one you've worked years for. The moment is finally close, and suddenly your behavior shifts. You start showing up late. You miss deadlines. You pick a fight with your partner over nothing. You can't focus. A voice whispers, "This is stupid. Why am I doing this?" And the strangest part? Part of you knows exactly what you're doing, but you can't stop. Now zoom out. This isn't about careers. It's about weight loss attempts that derail at the last 5 pounds, relationships that end just as they become real, creative projects abandoned when they're almost finished. Every time you get close, something inside you pulls the emergency brake. You are not broken. You are witnessing something much stranger. Imagine hiring a bodyguard whose only job is to protect you. Over time, they become so cautious that they begin seeing danger everywhere. Eventually, the person hired to protect your life starts preventing you from living it. That's exactly what your brain has quietly become. Your brain wasn't designed to maximize your success. It was designed to keep you emotionally safe. And if staying safe means stopping you from reaching for something bigger, it will. Not out of cruelty, but out of an old, outdated loyalty. And somewhere along the way, it started collecting evidence. Maybe one embarrassing failure or one painful rejection quietly convinced your brain, let's never feel that again. Your brain never stops to ask whether those lessons were still true. It simply remembered them. So years later, every time life asks you to become someone bigger, your brain quietly opens an old file. This wasn't safe before. Let's not do that again. You experience it as procrastination, as anxiety, as perfectionism, as the sudden urge to give up. Not because your future is dangerous, but because the danger disappeared years ago. The alarm didn't. Here's where it gets personal. Self-sabotage never looks like self-sabotage at first. It looks reasonable. It looks like exhaustion. It looks like, I'll do it tomorrow, when I'm more focused. It looks like, maybe I'm just not the kind of person who succeeds anyway. But these are stories. Stories your brain tells you, so you never have to face the thing you're actually afraid of. What are you afraid of? Not failure. Most of you have already failed before. You survived it. No, you're afraid of something else. You're afraid of what changes if you actually succeed. Because success means new expectations, new visibility, new relationships that might not understand the new you. It means leaving behind the identity that's kept you safe, even if it's also kept you small. But here's something strange. Self-sabotage rarely appears at the beginning. It shows up when success becomes real. You don't panic over possibilities. You panic when your life is about to change. Dreams are comfortable. They never judge you. They never reject you. They never expose you. Reality does. And that's exactly when your brain pulls the brakes. The closer you get to something life-changing, the more your inner bodyguard pulls you back. Not because success is dangerous, but because it's unfamiliar. That's why procrastination, perfectionism, and overthinking often travel together. They're different disguises for the same fear. If you never fully commit, you never have to fully risk being judged. Perfectionism isn't the pursuit of excellence, it's the avoidance of judgment. Overthinking feels productive, but it's often just procrastination, wearing a smarter disguise. Now pause. Think about the last thing you almost had. A breakthrough, a confession, a new beginning. What happened right before you pulled away? Not what excuse you gave yourself. What did you feel? That knot in your chest. That voice that said, "This is dangerous." That feeling that you didn't belong there. That you'd be found out, that you were an imposter. That feeling is the signal. That is your brain hitting the brakes. And now you know what it sounds like. But here's the part nobody talks about. Self-sabotage is actually a backhanded compliment. Your brain doesn't waste energy protecting things it believes don't matter. If it's trying this hard to stop you, maybe you finally reached something important. The sabotage isn't a sign that you're unworthy. It's a sign that you're approaching a threshold. Here's the twist. Your brain isn't protecting your future. It's protecting a younger version of you. Every act of self-sabotage keeps that younger self safe, even while your adult self pays the price. Here's something stranger still. People don't sabotage success because they hate success. They sabotage it because success threatens the identity they've spent years surviving with. If you've always been the struggling one, becoming successful doesn't just change your future, it changes who you believe you are. Now you get to choose. Do you keep letting an old, frightened part of yourself decide your future? Or do you learn to recognize the alarm for what it is and walk forward anyway? The moment you see the pattern, it loses its power. And here's a second pause. I want you to think about an area of your life where you keep getting so close, where you taste success, feel the edge of it, and then somehow it all falls apart. What's the story you tell yourself about why that happens? Now, consider this. What if that story isn't true? What if it's just the translation of an old fear? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is a belief you never consciously chose? That belief might be, I'm not the kind of person who finishes things, or success means losing people I love, or if I become more, I'll be alone. Look closely. Those are not facts. Those are fears dressed up as facts, and they've been running the show long enough. The way out is not to fight the fear. The way out is to acknowledge it, to name it. Next time you feel the pull to procrastinate, to pick a fight, to delay. Now, say to yourself, this is the old protection. I see it, and I'm not going to let it decide. Then do one small thing anyway. Not the whole mountain, just one step. Send the email. Write one paragraph. Have one honest conversation. You'll notice something remarkable. The fear was never of the action. The fear was of what the action represented. Once you act, the spell breaks. Maybe it's time to stop fighting your bodyguard. Thank them for protecting you. But remember, they were trained for your past, not your future. You are not your patterns. You are the awareness watching them. And the moment you realize that, you become the one in charge, not the ancient wiring. So maybe the question was never, why do I keep ruining my life? Maybe the real question is, what am I so desperately trying to keep safe? And if you can answer that honestly, you'll find something beautiful. The person you've been protecting yourself from becoming is the person you actually are. That person has been waiting for one thing, your decision to keep moving, despite the fear. Maybe fear was never the enemy. Maybe it was simply the sound of your old identity fighting to survive. And every version of you that you've admired had to walk through that same fear. So the next time your mind whispers, turn back. Smile, because now you'll know exactly who's speaking, not your future, your past. And for the first time, you don't have to obey it.